This is a special Missouri River flooding update from SDPB. Governor Dugard says flooding preparations are progressing on all fronts, including help from the federal government, as the president approved the governor's request to add Stanley County and Hughes County as disaster declarations. Those communities downstream may see additional help as well.
Downstream, we've also received formal approval from the president that authorizes emergency protective measures in Clay County, Yankton County, and Union County. That recognizes that the damages have not yet occurred to the degree that we might qualify for a disaster. If and when that does occur, then we'll seek a disaster declaration for those counties as well.
The levees in Pierre are 95% complete, and according to the Army Corps of Engineers, levees in Pierre and Fort Pierre are scheduled to be complete by tomorrow night, which means increased water releases will also be on time.
The schedule is probably going to be as produced earlier. I think the initial increase will be Friday.
As the water flow increases, we want to be sure we protect human life as we evaluate how the levees are doing, how fast the water is being released.
For webcasts and updates on Missouri River flooding anytime, go to sdpb.org/flood. This is a special Missouri River flooding update from SDPB. Residents of the Dakota Dunes are frantically sandbagging and moving personal items out of their homes. Today in a press briefing, Governor Dugard again warned homeowners.
First of all, everyone in the residential area should be prepared to evacuate by tomorrow night. That's what I said several days ago, and that remains true. They certainly should remove all their property now and move it to higher ground. They should secure their homes now, if they have not already done so, and be prepared to evacuate personally by the end of tomorrow.
As those on the ground work hard to build levees and protect homes, help from up above is also available.
I had ordered some Black Hawk helicopters to the area. 2 arrived yesterday afternoon and have been actively moving large sandbags.
We have 2 Black Hawk helicopters right now. We have ordered another, what we call a heavy helicopter. It's a Vertol. It will carry, at this point, 6,000 pounds, 3 tons of those sandbags at one time. That is why we ordered it.
2 miles worth of levee will help hold floodwaters back once the flooding preparations are complete in the Dakota Dunes.
Yesterday, when I was on the levee with the contractor, at one point he stated that traffic was causing him to be able to dump half as much as he could otherwise dump. That's unacceptable. And so we need to drill down and manage that traffic so we get the job done.
For webcasts and updates on Missouri River flooding anytime, go to sdpb.org/flood. This is a special Missouri River flooding update from SDPB.
State officials, FEMA, local residents, and volunteers are preparing for increased water out of Oahe Dam. The Army Corps of Engineers will increase the flow to 100,000 cubic feet per second at 8 a.m. Friday. Residents along the river in Pierre and neighboring Fort Pierre are being asked to leave their homes by 8 o'clock tonight. Eric Stash with the Army Corps of Engineers says it'll be difficult to notice the change in flows.
It's not going to be a wall of water. It's not going to be a surge of water. You're going to have to be there and watch it come up because it will slowly rise. It takes a little bit of time for that water to get from the dam to here.
Stash says the emergency levees are nearing completion and should be done before tomorrow's increase. He says the river is expected to rise within 0.4 of a foot of the emergency spillway. Stash doesn't anticipate needing to use the spillway. Governor Dennis Dugard says while he is preparing for the worst, he's hoping for the best.
We're reaching several days that are critical. The levee work will be completed, the affected areas will be evacuated, and the waters will reach their peak. Words cannot describe the outpouring of hard work and support we have seen over the past week.
Dugard says he wants affected residents in Pierre, Fort Pierre, and Dakota Dunes to evacuate by tonight.
It is part of the orderly process of removing human life from an area that will become increasingly risky to occupy.
Dugard is planning to tour Dakota Dunes on Friday.
For webcasts and updates on Missouri River flooding anytime, go to sdpb.org/flood. This is a special Missouri River flooding update from SDPB.
UH-1 Blackhawk helicopters are dropping sandbags near the Missouri River at Dakota Dunes. Kirk Van Patten is the Air Tactical Group Supervisor.
What we're doing is filling these bags that you see behind me, what we call helibags. I believe they're used for something else, beans or corn or something. But we're filling them with 2,000 pounds of sand. They're 36 inches by 36 inches by 50 inches. And that's a total of around 2,000 pounds of sand. We're shooting for about 24 to 30 bags an hour. And we filled about 250 to 260 bags. We're delivering them with the UH-1 Blackhawk helicopters to the incident. And we're getting real good production out of the two of them. And even with one, we're getting real good production. It's a tricky operation. As you can see, the helicopter has a 100-foot long line underneath it, and there's a remote hook on the end of the 100-foot long cable, and the pilot can release the bag once it's on the ground. And for the pilot to be placing that bag in a specific spot and building a line of those bags is tricky. So depending on the conditions at the incident, it either goes quick or it goes slow. But our main concern is safety, and they're doing a great job. We want to fill 3,000 bags before this is over. That's our goal. And we have 5,000 yards of sand. So we've got a long road ahead.
For webcasts and updates on Missouri River flooding anytime, go to sdpb.org/flood. This is a special Missouri River flooding update from SDPB. Most of the residents of Pierre and Fort Pierre took seriously the request to evacuate in advance. However, Governor Dugard is once again calling for evacuations of homes in the Dakota Dunes.
Teams of law enforcement and National Guard are going house to house in the area where evacuation is recommended, to be sure that those residents who choose to stay fully understand what they are up against. They also should understand that utilities would become less and less available and ultimately, possibly, and likely unavailable.
The Army Corps of Engineers has begun increasing the water flow rate at the Oahe Dam. However, there were some changes made to that plan overnight.
The amount released did not change. The only thing we did was we changed and we took that 15,000 cubic feet per second increase, and we took it in two stages. The first one at 8 o'clock in the morning, the second one at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
As communities from Pierre to the Dakota Dunes prepare for rising waters, many wonder, what will this flood cost the state?
During the vigorous budget discussions in the most recent legislative session, there were a number of proposals to utilize emergency reserve funds to perpetuate ongoing overspending, and I resisted that. And one of the prime reasons I resisted it, because I said those funds should be used for emergencies and unforeseen one-time costs. And that's exactly what we are seeing today.
For webcasts and updates on Missouri River flooding anytime, go to sdpb.org/flood. This is a special Missouri River flooding update from SDPB.
This morning, the Army Corps of Engineers began stepping up the releases out of Owyhee and Big Bend dams. By Tuesday, June 7th, the flow will total a full 150,000 cubic feet per second. That's approaching 3 times more than the record flow ever seen since the dams were constructed in the 1950s. The increase in flow will test the temporary levee system that lines either side of the Missouri River at Pier. Many property owners have erected a second set of sandbag barriers around their homes and buildings to protect the structures if the levees fail. Governor Dennis Dugard stresses that the levees are not a guarantee of safety. He's also asking the public to stay away from the levees to ensure their stability and integrity is maintained.
We've been using the National Guard to conduct mobile security patrols on the levees in Pier and Fort Pierre to ensure the safety of the locals as levee construction is completed. The National Guard has been meeting with local and state law enforcement to refine the levee security and surveillance plan.
As the water levels rise in the coming days, the levee will become more and more stressed, and its chances of being overtopped or breaking will increase. If a sudden breach should occur, it would produce a tsunami-like wave into the flood zone. Joe Lowe is the incident commander overseeing the effort to protect Dakota dunes from rising floodwaters.
Should the levee breach, that secondary levee will be in place to contain the rest of the water that would flow into that.
The waters on the Missouri are rising, but officials say the coming days are the true test as the river levels reach their maximum. And officials say downstream residents must prepare for higher water than seen any time in the last 50 years.
For webcasts and updates on Missouri River flooding anytime, go to sdpb.org/flood. This is a special Missouri River flooding update from SDPB.
Flows from the Missouri River are increasing every day, and the water is rising south of Owyhee Dam. Eric Stosh with the Army Corps of Engineers says the first day of added releases showed quite a jump on the gauges.
We increased that 15,000 CFS over the day, and between 8 o'clock yesterday morning when we took our first release to when I read the gauge at 6 o'clock this morning, we had a 10.5-inch increase in water surface elevation.
Once final releases are added, the Missouri River at Pier is expected to rise to 1,434 feet above sea level. Pier Mayor Lori Gill says low-lying areas are starting to flood.
There are some homes that are getting groundwater in the basement, and the water is starting to get into some backyards in Southeast Pier, so it's moving. And at this moment, it's probably starting to move into some neighborhoods, but it's really a watch as we go today.
Lieutenant Governor Matt Michaels is working on state efforts in southeast South Dakota. He says officials want boaters to stay off the river.
Because obviously boats create weight. And for that matter, if anybody is thinking about being on the Missouri River in a boat, you should have your heads examined. This is a dangerous river. If you think you understand this river, and as I've been saying in the past, I don't care if you are the greatest river rat throughout this stretch. It is a different beast, and they're cranking it up.
Union County Sheriff Dan Limoges says law enforcement is working hard to patrol evacuated areas in the state's southeast corner.
But a message that I'd like to send out is to the criminal element that is out there. If you think that Union County is an opportunity for you, rest assured, think again, because you will be arrested.
For webcasts and updates on Missouri River flooding anytime, go to sdpb.org/flood. This is a special Missouri River flooding update from SDPB. There are 4 dams on the Missouri River in South Dakota. Owyhee Dam near Pier is the furthest north. Downstream near Fort Thompson is Big Bend. Fort Randall Dam near Pickstown was the first dam completed in 1952, and Gavin's Point near Yankton is the dam furthest south. It's been over 60 years since the first dam was built and close to 50 years since contractors finished the last structure. There are some in South Dakota who remember building the dams. Earl Gepfert lives a quiet life in White Lake, South Dakota. He sits on his patio outside as he recalls time working on the Owyhee and Fort Thompson dams. It was a massive undertaking for the time. Contractors built wooden frames that sit under thousands of pounds of concrete. The construction of the dams provided work for many returning from World War II.
It was just another job. I done everything that nobody else wanted to do, put it that way. I run about everything and anything they had up there.
Earl returned home from the service and was drawn to the job because of the good wages, making up to $10 an hour in the mid-1950s, which was good money at the time and, according to Earl, good for South Dakota.
Stopped a lot of that flooding. Give a lot of people jobs. They was good for South Dakota, really. All I can say is I done it and I been there.
The dam and reservoir system on the Missouri River is designed for multi-purpose use. That includes hydroelectric power, navigation, municipal water, irrigation, fish and wildlife habitat, recreational use, and flood control. For webcasts and updates on Missouri River flooding anytime, go to sdpb.org/flood. This is a special Missouri River flooding update from SDPB. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers remains focused on increasing water flows on the Missouri River. The plan is to reach 150,000 cubic feet per second by mid-June. Many in our state wonder if these man-made structures are strong enough to withstand the powerful impact of Mother Nature. Eric Stosh with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says South Dakota's dams are safe.
I have total confidence that we have a safe dam. We have many people watching it, many very knowledgeable people watching this dam on a continual basis now.
The dam and reservoir system on the Missouri River is designed for multi-purpose use. That includes hydroelectric power, navigation, municipal water, irrigation, fish and wildlife habitat, recreational use, and flood control. But many wonder if flood control was part of the mission. Why are so many up and down the river flooding?
Flood control projects do have their limitations. And this being the wettest year in the last 113 years, it's really stretching the flood control capability of these projects. You know, what the Corps calls it right now, they used to call it flood control, now they call it flood damage reduction. You know, we don't prevent flood damages, but we try to minimize the flood damages, and definitely we try and protect the public from that.
The Army Corps of Engineers is reassuring the public they have no concerns about the stability of the dam. Becker says the dams were designed to flow more water than what we will see this summer.
Gavin's Point spillway can release about 500,000 cubic feet per second.
For webcasts and updates on Missouri River flooding anytime, go to sdpb.org/flood. This is a special Missouri River flooding update from SDPB.
As waters rise, so is the temperature. Governor Dennis Dugard says there's a new safety concern other than heavy construction equipment. He is urging residents to take care of themselves in the heat and